I'm gonna share something. Now, don't run away. Don't run away, because I'm gonna say some things that's gonna, But just listen to it and consider it. I'm not even want to ask you to pray. That's awfully bold of me to ask you to pray. But can I say something? There is a cancel culture, if you will, ideology politically that's being expressed in the media, and it goes above some people's head because they're not really paying attention to it. But a larger number of Japheth, that is white, men and women, believe, and accurately so, that there is a plan afoot by Japheth, if you will, liberals, Japheth Democrats, along and combined with Hamite Democrats and liberals, to replace white people in America. Now, think about it for just a second. I ask you, don't leave. Don't run away. Don't get angry. Just listen. You don't have to get an attitude, when I talk. Just listen. But it's true. There is a political, cultural, cancel culture move in America today to replace white people. You can call them conservative. You can call them rednecks. You can call them Republicans if you like. But many Republicans are down with the replacement, so they're not necessarily conservatives. They're not necessarily Republicans. But there's a segment, a hardcore group of Japheth people that America wants to get rid of. They want to replace them. They feel that they're unproductive and I'll come back to their reasons. But before I do the reasoning aspect of it, let me just, and when it's talked about on television and media, if it's talked about on CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, or New York Times, it's talked about in a very negative way, as if these people are barbaric, that they are the worst of the worst of the worst, and that they're lying. But, and when they march, such as what they had down in Charlotte, was it someplace down in Virginia, going back a couple of years ago, where they said the Jews will not replace us. They were marching with those tiki torches, and Jews will not replace us, and it was a major movement. Remember that? That's when you probably heard the term replacement. You probably didn't pay very much attention to it, but they were aware then. But the media presented them as some of the world's ugliest people. And I have to tell you this, I don't necessarily agree with Donald Trump on anything. In fact, I just don't. But I have to tell you, when Donald Trump said about the replacement march there in Virginia, about the march in Virginia, that he was asked, it was called to task to give his opinion. He said, well, good people on both sides. He was right. Now, I don't want to give Donald Trump no kind of credit. I can tell you that right now. I don't want to give that boy no kind of credit, but I'm not a hypocrite. The man was right. You see, okay, let's look at this from this point of view. When he said there were good people on both sides. When Black Lives Matter go out in the street and they carry that sign, they march and they protest and they loot and they burn. They don't carry torches, they burn stuff down, right? And they're marching and doing whatever they're doing. When CNN and MSNBC and Washington Post and New York Times and others report that, they report that somehow this is noble. This is a good thing that Black Lives Matter is doing. Oh, this is so wonderful. We need to support this. Let's hear from it. Let's take a camera and a microphone and put it in front of one of the protesters and see because this is so noble. They're protesting. They're saying defund the police and a number of other things that they're saying. Or they're taking over Portland, Oregon, and they're shutting down the courthouses. And, they are so nice. This is so wonderful to see them do it. But when black people march, according to liberal media, it's a good thing. Oh, that's so wonderful, so exhilarating. But when white people march for their rights, all of a sudden they're monsters. I don't watch a lot of Fox News. I watch enough of it. And I hear what they're saying about Lachlan Murdoch, that he is more, if you will, right-wing than his father, Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News, and he owns the world media, quite frankly. And Fox News, or Tucker Carlson, has gone down the road as far as they can in terms of being in support of the whites or the Japheth people who understand that there's a movement afoot to cancel culture and to replace white people with others. And so Fox News has taken the only position they can take because CNN and MSNBC support Black Lives Matter. You would think that Moses and Jesus and Sarah and Deborah and the Virgin Mary were the leaders of Black Lives Matter, the way CNN, and they out there and burning and looting. Not to be sure, not every marchers are burning and looting, but a lot of them have been. You know, okay, so you had the insurrection at the Capitol building on January 6th. Yeah, okay, all right. But you have to remember that those who are claiming that the liberal media want to do a replacement of them is an actual fact that they are concerned about, and they need to be more vocal, and they need Fox News and Tucker Carlson promoting. Let me put it this way. Right? So the replacement is this. It's the replacement is to get rid of certain people, white people. Get rid of them. Remove them. Whether you want to replace them with Mexicans or Indians or Muslims, get rid of them. Not all white people. The liberal whites, the Democrat whites, the LGBTQ Japheth people, they're good. That's what they say. I don't say they're good, but that's their idea. So there's this war to get rid of those who don't go along with that idea. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. All right? Get rid of the Stonewall Jackson worshipers and monuments. Get rid of them. Replace them. You know, the Sioux Indian, the Navajo, the Cherokee, the Arapaho, all those Indian tribes held America since the days of the pyramid, right? Columbus sails over here, bring a few other people, land over here, and you know what they do? The Japheth man comes in, right? Comes to America, comes to New York, comes to, Jamestown, all down South Carolina, even down in the Caribbean. Know what he does? The Japheth man from England comes in and he pushes the Native American people who are just natives to this land. They'd never been born no place else. They ain't never sailed no ship nowhere. You know what he does? He moves them backwards and he brings in black people to do what? That's right, to replace the Indians. That you damn right. That's what he does. When slaves came to America, they came here as replacement labor. Because Sioux and the Arapaho and the Cherokee and all the rest of them said, we ain't doing it, because they were pretty stupid. They sold Manhattan Island for $24 and some beads. But Geronimo and Sitting Bull and a whole lot of others said, we ain't taking no more of this. President Andrew Johnson, even after slavery and after the death of President Abraham Lincoln, marched the Indians across Oklahoma and Texas on what is known as the Trail of Tears, 500 miles on their feet in the wintertime. And many Indians died in what is known as the historic Trail of Tears by Andrew Johnson after Abraham Lincoln had so-called freed the slave. But black people were brought here to replace the Indians. No, you need to wake the hell up. What these people are saying is true. And what Trump said, there were good people on both sides, he's right. And I think being generous too, because there were good people in those white people marching with those tiki torches. There were good people in those marches. They were. What I may question, if I'm going to question Trump about anything, I will question Trump about whether anybody in the Black Lives Matter, which is on the other side of Antifa, whether any of those people were good. Now, to be sure, obviously, they probably were. But truer words were never spoken about Trump while he was president than when he said there were good people, but the liberal LGBTQ racist media ate that up. And the people who are trying to stop being replaced by a new form of labor, such as the slave replaced the Indians, the white people are trying to save their land, save their culture, save their heritage, and not be replaced, got assaulted by CNN, Washington Post, MSNBC, the black liberals, and even some white Republicans. So you need to understand that this is real. It is modern day slavery replacement of a group of white people who the liberal media they just won't. Let me give you one other thing, and I promise I really, Scouts honor, whatever I did. I promise not to. Up here in Harlem, where I'm at right now, that street back there's Harlem. They brought in LGBTQ, they brought in liberal, Democrat, Japheth people, and they have replaced the black man. They have torn down his churches. They've torn down his cultural centers. They've torn down his Lenox Lounge. They've torn down his Baby Grand. Hell, the Red Rooster was Adam Clayton Powell's hangout. Adam Powell, Congressman Powell. Before he preached, he'd get himself a drink over at the Red Rooster, then go to Abyssina Church right across the street on 7th Avenue and then preach. They've even taken the Red Rooster and given it to some Japheth people. It's sick as hell. I swear. They have actually replaced Harlem with white people. They have replaced Harlem with white people everywhere you look. Everywhere you look, the replacement. They do it all the time. They get the leaders, destroy the churches, destroy the culture, get the ignorant, buy off people like Al Sharpton, give him $800,000. He made a commitment he would never march against the redevelopment and reassignment of Harlem, right? Pay off the churches, give a preacher who ain't never had 2 nickels to rub together, raise in the project, get that boy $20 million for his building. He done gone crazy. He started having conniptions when he heard that he could get $20 million. That boy ain't never seen more than $10 together at one time. He's the pastor of a church, now getting ready to get $20 million. The hell with Jesus and the people and the property and everybody else. Give me that $20 million. You can have this building. So replacement isn't a secret thing. They've been doing it for years. Been doing it for years. So when you see on Fox News, and many of y'all probably don't get a chance to check it out, there's a concern there. We need to be concerned about the Japheth man that is really being attacked by liberals in the media of CNN and MSNBC. And these same liberals are using Black Lives Matter, pumping them up, giving them money, giving them book deals to keep them marching, keep them mad as hell, keep them angry, to fight, make the fight against black and white. CNN is pumping up Black Lives Matter to make them look like they're fighting the white folk, and the white folk are fighting them, while at the same time, they're rooting for Black Lives Matter to be the spearhead so they can get rid of the white people who won't go along with LGBTQ, won't go along with all this subsidizing black living, giving black people money to subsidize their lifestyles, paying for everything from their diapers to their education to their toilet paper. And these white folks say, we just ain't gonna do it, and they're gonna get rid of them. The problem is that we have to realize we're in the tribulation, so all of this is to be understood. I'm just an essayist in the midst of the tribulation, but you need to understand that's what's going on in our world today. There is a place in Utah called Promontory Point, and Promontory Point's important because the East-West Railroad, when they were building the railroads in the 19th century, they wanted a rail system that would leave New York and go all the way to San Francisco, all the way cross country. Now, you can get on Interstate 80 today, right, at the George Washington Bridge, and you don't ever have to get off that board. There's not one stoplight between here and the Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco. They wanted to do the same thing with the railroad. So the rail system where they could produce products could be made in the factories, the textile mills in the south, in the north, and the west, in the east rather, be sent to the north, to the west rather, on rail cars. And they started working in New York with a group of laborers, Irish workers, the people from foreign nations. Many didn't even speak the language. Worked on the railroads, but the segment that came to meet them was the Chinese people, because China is right across the bridge, Pacific from San Francisco. You know that. So San Francisco was full of Chinese people, like it is with Latinos today, and they started working to bring it. And the two groups of people, workers, met together at Promontory Point. They took a 24-karat gold spike and drove that spike into the last connecting of the railroad, and then it became a real cross-country railroad. But the meaning point was Promontory Point. But what's my point? My statement for that is that the Chinese workers replaced other workers. Most of the rail systems in the 19th century and roads of them were built by the Chinese. Replacement. This is not a new ideology. It isn't. They call it gentrification here, but it isn't gentrification, it's replacement. They have replaced the black church with restaurants and sidewalk cafes where you can drink Chardonnay and eat your Caesar salad. They've replaced the black preacher with LGBTQ supporters. And they poured millions of dollars into ignifying the average black person who still lives here. He's ignorant, or she. They are absolutely. They full of racism. They pour millions of dollars into Black Lives Matter to keep you thinking racism is your answer. I said the other day, I swear before God, and I bet my seat in heaven, I ain't never seen nobody as racist as black people. They black before they Christian. They black before they human. Hell, they black, we black. They're black before they Christian. They black before they human. They black before they any. We black. I ain't never seen anybody in the history of the world, going back to the days of the caveman, that is as racist as black people. That's all they think about. They wake up, we black. How come my milk ain't black? How come black so black? And CNN gives you doses of it all, all you get is doses of it all day long, keeping you angry, Black Lives, keep them propped up, promote them, support them, give them airtime, give them interviews, put them on so they can all come on, the professor, and keep black people mad enough to replace white people. And there's a war. There's a race war going on in America, and they're trying to keep it quiet. Elder Smith sent me a note the other day, it was this morning, right, 4 o'clock this morning, said there was something on Fareed Zakaria that I should check out. I saw Fareed Zakaria yesterday, Global, whatever it is thing he does. And what it is, they were talking about Alex Jones and others who YouTube has a choice. You don't get a lot of views because you got good content. You get a lot of views if YouTube like you. If YouTube like you, they have a thing called algorithm where they can present you all over the place. If people don't even know anything about you, they can push it in their faces on their computers. They open up their computers and there you are. But if they don't like you, they can actually stop people who do like you. That people think you just aren't on the air today. And it was expressed by one of the persons who made a statement to the New York Times that that's what was happening with Alex Jones. That the algorithm is just pushing him all over everywhere, and now they're doing the same thing to stop him. Listen, if we get 200 views on anything I do, that's like 2 million, because they and I've been trying to tell people, it ain't my message. Well, I've been trying to tell them that we are being stopped every which kind of way they possibly can to keep our message from getting out, and we need to learn how to fight back. Maybe they need to watch this video from Fareed Zakaria and learn from that man, but we need to fight back. Yeah, you should go on there, and one day we're up to 400,000 views. Why? Because they were pushing me. They pushed me. Then they paid me. They would actually give me money. But once I came out flat against LGBTQ, and once when I was just against Obama, they really didn't care. I swear, I tell you the honest God truth, not a word of a lie. When I was just against Obama, they didn't give a damn. But when I came out against the LGBTQ, that was the end of that. No, you ain't going nowhere. They didn't really care what I said about Obama, about his mama, nobody else. They didn't really care. It didn't matter to them. It's that LGBTQ too. And I keep trying to tell people. Wake up. Wake up to what they're doing. They're manipulating the minds of the few people that are still left, that are so-called black, and got them boiling mad about racism. Then you got these pimps they put up like, Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and a bunch of others. They give all this television. They got a half an hour on CNN and MSNBC that would normally cost anybody $30, $40 million to have that kind of time on television. Don't even do commercials when Ben Crump is on. They stopped doing commercials. It's replacement. Coming back to our original thesis, we got to reach out to our brothers, white Japheth brothers, because they're looking to replace him the way they've replaced the Hamite brother here in Harlem. They have replaced Stomp Down, if you will, Bumpy Johnson, Nicky Bond pimps with LGBTQ men wearing flip-flops and holding hands. They replaced the churches with restaurants. And if you just listen to me, damn it, listen! You can see what they've done. You can see what they've done and how vicious it is. And now they're looking to do it to the Japheth brother. You say, well, he Japheth, he white. No, listen, I'm going to tell you something. Your enemy is your enemy is your enemy. They got a plan. They want to replace me. They do. Ain't going to happen. You know why? I'm the Lord's servant. And hallelujah and boom shakalaka goes right there. This is a bit of a news blog we do looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I am he. I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.